Hey guys, Rob or Panics here, and welcome to Web Design and Coding for Beginners, episode 6. If it's not 6, then I've embarrassed myself, but if it is 6, then I've got techers. Today, we are going to be talking about... I'm not really sure yet. I've just got up, but it's been a couple of days since I made one of these, so let's crack on. Unhide the desktop! You can see I'm working on my bigger monitor. So in web design and coding for begins. Let's just make it a bit bigger. Website tutorial, and we're going to open index in Dreamweaver, as per usual. And then let's preview it in the Chrome, and it's appeared on my second screen. So, right, this is where we were at. Looking very flashy. For some reason, my headers don't have. My H2s don't have a drop shadow, so we're going to put one on. A reminder for that is text dash shadow, and then your color, then your right amount, and then your down amount. And I want 0 and 2. And there we go. They've got nice things done. So what we're going to work on today is something in Photoshop. Way people have been asking this for a little while now. So we're going to do, basically I'll show you how to do trial and error on Photoshop to make something look pretty wicked, and this is going to be quite a short one, I think. So crank open Photoshop, go to File, New, and we're going to want to make this, let's say 1500, let's say 1800 wide, and we'll make it 10 tall for the moment. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open a new file and make it, go to your thing, and we've made a container that's 900 wide, so we're going to make it 900 wide. This is a bit cheeky coding wise, but it's a good way to sort of get involved. Press Command A or Control A, and then Command C or Control C to basically copy it all, and then just Command V. And you'll see that if you put a color overlay on that, you've created essentially your container middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag 2 guides across so we know exactly where they are. And then all you're going to want to do is create some kind of pattern. So let's go for a nice coloured one. So let's create the background being or rather, excuse me, make sure your background is transparent and that you blend into transparencies. So it's probably easier if we make this while we're on a bigger canvas. So let's make it 100 tall, and this will give us a better indication. Later on we'll make it so it's a smaller file, because it's important to keep your file small for when you're working on the web. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a gradient, and we're going to come from exactly where our 900 starts, and we're going to come to about here. Now you can see it's come up on the other side, so what we're going to do is we want to delete that all the way over here, and then I'm just going to want to shuffle it in 1, 2, because I don't want it to be complete. And then just hold it, so, sorry, I'm assuming your Photoshop knowledge is pretty high, but hold down Alt and drag down to duplicate a layer, and then we're just going to hit Command T, and then rotate 180 degrees. And then, so you're going to want to bring it all the way across. I'm just going to drag it. And then if we hide here, you'll be able to see how far or near you are away from the two. So, and then just adjust them accordingly. I think that's about right. It's I'm not making mine look perfect, but you ought to spend a little bit of extra time making it look good and making sure it looks funky. I'm going to cover various ways of doing this today, by the way. I've just thought of another one. So I've converted that into one object. I'm just going to change the colour because I don't really want blue. I want to make the site green. So we're going to pick a nice deep, not a vomit green, no. Nobody wants chunder green on their site. Are we going to make it green? Or are we going to make it blue? Or pink? I don't know what colour to make it. How about a nice purple? Nice deep purple. Nah, purple's not a nice colour. Orange, right. So made it quite a sort of earthy orange. And then what you're going to want to do is find a pattern that you like. So let's go to your half moon down here, your effects tab, effects, layer effects, and then put in pattern. Now I quite like this scan line type job, but I'm going to want it in, yeah, let's have it in white, a white scan line. If you want to know how to learn to do scan lines, I have a tutorial on them, and the information will be in the description. And then again, we're not going to want them to show right up to the edge, so you're going to want to click on the vector mask layer, hit gradient, and then just drag away to about halfway, so that if you were to put a colour behind it, let's pick something like that, you can see that it doesn't go all the way on this side, but on this side it does. So you then, what you're going to want to do is you can do it two ways. You can either wipe out this side on the mask, and then duplicate the layer, highlight the vector mask, and then rotate it 180 degrees, which is pretty much the safest way of making sure it's exactly the same. But you don't have to do it that way. Yeah, so that's that, and it's a bit, the pattern's a bit bright, so what we're going to want to do is we're just going to convert these to a smart object, and then set it to soft light. I think that looks pretty funky. And then one last thing is we're going to put a nice border on the container. So let's make that not. Again, I'm just styling this in whatever way I fancy. You can make it look really, really cool and do whatever you want with it, really. Let's set it to soft light as well. And then just to sort of round it off, we're going to put in one more layer, which is going to be one white line. And we've gone for a dark colour, so make sure you colour your... Actually no, because we can colour the container. So here we go. Make sure you hide your back layer, but colour pick it, so make sure you know which colour it is. So take your colour, and before we do anything in Photoshop again, we'll go back to here and we'll set the background colour to that. But we're going to take the word colour out, just background, and you'll see it will have exactly the same effect. It's now bright orange, and we're going to work on the colours and stuff as we go. But you're going to want to come back to here, and you're basically going to want to make it as small as you can. Now I know that this pattern is 5 tall, so it has to be at least 5 pixels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to here and I'm going to set the height to 5 pixels. Now the best way to check this, it's not 5 pixels, is to come and have a look and see, does the next, imagine if the next one up here was that line, would it be where that one is? And that's not, it's quite a difficult way to explain. Basically, this one should sit in the same block as that one, so that your top notch should be in the block before your bottom notch of the next line. So it's not 5 pixels. Let's see if it's 8 pixels. Now I deliberately said it was 5 pixels because I wanted to show you that it wasn't. I knew it was 8. So you can see here that the last block of the upward one is in the block before the block of the first one going up, and that's how you make a seamless pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide the background color, and then Command. Now on a Mac it's Command, Shift, and Alt, and that's save. Oh, and S. Sorry, Command, Shift, Alt, and S. You'll see me do this quite a lot. Or File, Save for web and devices. Now you're going to want to make sure it's PNG24 because that's the one that best supports transparency. And you'll see right down there, this file is going to be 6 kilobytes. That's nothing. Even on a really terrible connection, it's going to take 2 seconds. On a 2 megabyte download, it's going to take less than a second. So that's exactly what you're looking to do. And then you're going to want to come back into, oh no, not this project. Web design and coding for beginners. Website tutorial. I'm going to make a new folder called images. Now it's nice to have them separate because it will keep your index file much cleaner. And we're just going to call this BG, background. I like to keep my file names as short as possible while still knowing what they are, so that you can best use them. So what we're going to want to do is then we're going to come to, in our background now, in our body, you do URL, brackets, and then you want the path for your image. So it's images, dash, unless, have we got our CSS in a CSS file? No, we haven't. Images, and then what do we call it? We call it bg.png. Then close that and press Command S and come back here, and we'll see what happens. Now there we go. See, the background image is there. It blends out quite nicely on the left, but the issue we're having is that it's not in the middle when you resize stuff. So we'll come back here and we'll do center, and then hit Command S again, and there we go. The next issue though is because we made it so big, the chances are it won't happen on our file, but on our website. But if we zoom out, you'll see that it begins to repeat itself, and that's not what we want. So we're going to come to here, and this is the one I always get wrong. You can either select no repeat. We'll show you what that does. That repeats it not at all, not vertically or horizontally, but we want it to repeat vertically. So we want we want repeat, and this is X. So it's just going to repeat up and down. No, right. I told you, this is the one I get wrong. Repeat X repeats it horizontally. So what we can see is it's repeating it over and over again, left and right. What we want is it to repeat up and down. So that's repeat Y, repeat dash Y. And there we go. So that's not repeating at all. It's nice and centered, and we're back up to the full size. Now actually it looks quite a lot nicer in white. So what we're going to do is we're going to just see why our navbar isn't the full width of our container. Right, here we are. You can see immediately, if we look at container, there's a very faint green box between the edge of our container that we've designed and our stuff. So what we're going to want to do is come to container and take the padding off. And a lot of this is sort of like toing and froing, changing stuff around. For some reason, it would seem that our container isn't in the middle. How cheeky is that? We're 1 pixel out. And why is this? Let's view actual size. So this is one of those things that sometimes you'd never quite know why it's doing this. So the container is, yeah, it thinks the container is slightly thinner. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into here and image canvas size. Yeah, it's 900. How bizarre. How strange. Now you can either do two things to get around this. You can do you can make the container 899, which puts a padding on the which puts a thing on the other side, or we can make it 902. 3. There we go. So for some reason, our container was our middle container on our website was the wrong size, and it just takes playing around. You can play around in Photoshop or in Dreamweaver. Neither's wrong or right. We've just changed the size slightly. So as we can see, whatever size it is, it's nice and centered now, and actually looking quite funky. But our white text is not looking so good. So what we're going to do is we are going to change it. So this often you revisit stuff, like I say. So we'll go to H1. I don't really like that color, so we're going to make it. We're going to go back to Photoshop, and we're going to color pick our nice deep. Put this color back in, and we're going to color pick our nice deep brown. So about here, I think it's nice. Go to H1. We'll find our color, and then just sub in that hex value, and there we go. See what happens. There we go. I really don't like this kitchen thingy font, so what I'm going to do is I showed you how to do it, so I could show you how to do it. I'm going to put it back in Crete round regular. And there we go. And the black majigger isn't actually looking that fantastic, so we're going to make it white on the text shadow. So it's FFF. And I'm not a big advocate for just having flat white on containers, so we're going to make a background for the container. Something quite simple. So we go to File, New, and we know our background's about 900 wide, so we're going to make it just a bit bigger than that. So 1000, and then the same height as well. And what we're going to want to do is come across and grab just like a grey. Put ourselves here and find the middle by dragging two rulers, one from the top, one from the bottom. If you don't have rulers on, press Command R or Control R, and you see I've turned on caps lock. You won't see it here, but turning on caps lock means you'll see a pointer rather than the entire brush, and it means you can get exactly in the middle of your piece. So there we go. We've made a little grey blob. Now we hit Command Alt Shift S, and we're going to call this Con BG because it's a container background. But again, you can call them whatever you want. And we'll go back to container, and we're going to set the background for this. So we'll do background URL images conbg.png, and we'll see what happens. Not a lot. And let's make the color CCC. No, that's not actually looking very nice. So we're going to come back to our one here, and we're going to color pick the outside of our container, which is that nice yellow. And we're going to come across and pick just a really, really faint cream of this color. Let's try that. So I'm just copying it and then hitting Command S and Alt Tab. Is it Command Tab? Oh, it's Alt Tab on a PC. It's Command Tab. And that's a little bit warmer actually. Not a huge amount of difference. So I'm going to come back across, grab a slightly brighter yellow. And there we go. That's actually looking pretty funky. I'm going to come back to this layer, and we're going to make this in the middle. We're going to make it white. So color overlay, set it to white. Command S, Command Shift Alt S. I'm just going to call that Save for Web now. Now you know what the shortcut is. And there you go. So that's got quite a nice sort of sunburst effect. We're going to set that to center, no repeat. So, or no, rather, sorry, top, no repeat. So it puts itself right at the top of your container, no matter how big or small. And actually, I want it to be a bit further up. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it up to the top here, and then just halve the canvas size to halve the file. Height 500. And again, this is just playing around. I'm sure a lot of you will have made backgrounds before and stuff like that, so you'll know the sort of theory of how to do stuff like this. And so there we go. That's looking pretty fresh now. And the nice thing about the white thing is you don't see it, but when you highlight it, it's there. Let's just change these other colours while we're here. To standard text, let's make it 111, and the text shadow FFF, which is starting to look pretty fresh. And then the main subtitle techers, we're going to come back here, and it's nice to color grab stuff from your backgrounds. Let's pick a different one here. Now this might actually look better as this one, and we're going to take that one out and make that the subtitle one. So H2, where's my colour? Why haven't I set a colour for H2? Oh, I haven't set a colour for H2. Colour, and there we go. Bosh, and it needs a white text shadow. And a lot of this is just playing around, so it's an opportunity for you to muck around a bit and see what's going on. Again, I'll probably change these colours wise, but we did how to change colours and how to style lists. My lists are still down here. But what I want to show you also, now we've opened up Photoshop, I want to show you how to create. See, this is for sort of a fixed width background. You can find stuff called seamless patterns, and I've got a whole download pack of them on my patterns tutorial. But the way they work is, let's make one that's 100 by 100. If you go to pattern, and I'm just going to pick one of mine. Let's pick this flowery one. And what you're going to want to do is you work out how big your pattern is before it starts repeating. So let's try 500 by 500. Often the patterns will tell you how big they are, but you can see the recurring elements. So here we are. This is one recurring element. It's from here to here. So what you do is you get it so it's in the corner, that little piece there, and then what you want to do is work out how big that space is. And I think on Photoshop CS6 it can tell you your pixels, but I kind of have to do it by guesswork. So I'm going to guess that if that's 500, we're going to go for 320. 320 by 320 into that corner. And that's too small. So we go to image, camera size. And I'm not doing this deliberately to show you how not to do it. This is exactly how to do it. You learn by mucking around with it and seeing how... see, that seems to suggest that we've got the wrong size, because you can see in the top corner this is repeated. So let's try a little bit smaller. My voice is going, ow. Ow. And there we go. Right, let's see if this works. So it's Command S, Command Shift, save for web, and we're going to call this bg.png. Now this will overwrite what we have already, but we'll hit refresh, and as we can see, it's repeating vertically. So what we just want to go and do is change the body to do a repeat. To repeat both ways, you just have doesn't say it at all. It's the standard default value, and there we go. It looks as if that's actually working quite well. Obviously, it's a floral pattern, and if that's not what you're looking for, then that's fine. But this is how you make a seamless pattern. So however big you make it, it will still have that pattern everywhere, which is quite nice. And there are ways to then get around it with gradients, but that's a little bit further on in our tutorials. And this doesn't have to just be the pattern like this. So you could make it, you can make the background, say, this orange, and then just take the pattern fill down to something a bit more delicate, a bit more ambient. And there you go. See, even with something sort of flowery, it's actually something quite interesting. And then the next thing you can do is you could stick a scanline over it. Set that to overlay, and then this is often what a lot of people do, is a pattern and a scanline. And there you go. Now you can see, if you look really carefully, that I'm trying to see if I can get it so you'll be able to see it. No, you can't really see it. It's a couple of pixels out. I think it's 1 pixel out. It needs to be one bigger, so it needs to be 501, I think. Let's go for 331 by 331. Let's just make that like that. And again, this is just this pure trial and error, constantly re-evaluating how it's looking. Actual size. So, are we out by one too many now? I think we might be. So again, just constantly going 1 pixel smaller, 1 pixel bigger, until you get that perfect size for both patterns. We're nearly there. One more. It's one more. But this might end up being too small for the main pattern. It's a tricky one. There we go. So this is a seamless pattern that's looking quite nice actually. So yeah, I'll leave both options. What I'll do is I'll so you guys can sort of see them. We'll call one body, and then we're going to put it in a comment. So to stop something being seen, you put something in a comment. So let's just put that like that. Star and a slash either side of it. So that's basically an alternate body to what it was. So we'll put the old one back. Repeat Y, and then the background we're going to set to. We're going to call this one BG Alt. So let's just go back and resave this as BG Alt. Just basically, I'm leaving it in the code so you guys can see it. If you download it, you'll be able to see what the fuck are you. You'll be able to see what I've done. Let's go back and save this as BG. And refresh. And now we've got the old one back. And actually that's quite nice. So those are two different ways of doing it, using patterns. If you do need a tutorial on how to use the scan lines and the patterns, then go to I'll put the link in the description for it, and you can learn how to do it that way. But I think that's already 26 minutes. It's already far too long. I'm going to keep all the PSDs, so we'll call this BG, and then this one BG Alt, and then this one Con BG, so that you know exactly what I used. And we'll just shut off Photoshop, quit Photoshop, and that's pretty much it. That's today's tutorial. That's a really, really basic on how to use images in backgrounds. I've taught you a few funky bits, but actually it's really, really easy. You can do whatever you like. We'll cover a few more details on that next week, on different ways of actually using a background image on websites, because there's another couple of really cool ways to do it. So I'll teach you them next time, and this has been fantastic. I've been Rob Panics, and I'll see you guys really, really soon. Goodbye.